Hey, it's Friday. Time to check out some of my favorite photos. And it was an interesting week. I drive around a lot, like you said, and I really like going by Fairhaven because of the active waterfront. But it's funny because there's this cool relationship between New Bedford and Fairhaven. Well, New Bedford is known as the fishing port. Well, Fairhaven is really where everything gets fixed. So it's really cool to see how different they are. So I was driving by and I noticed this guy was working on his propeller for a fishing boat. And from what I understand, the edges were ruined because of the nozzle that the propeller rotates around. So in essence, he refilled it with copper, and now he's polishing off the excess, and then he has to balance it and so on. But it's real easy to take a photograph like this. The hard part is to take a photograph that's really captivating. And if you look closely, this blue disc in the center is really what makes the photograph stand out, because it's not just the center of the propeller, it's also the exact center of the photograph. And why do I know that? Because my little focus point inside my viewfinder is the exact center, and that's exactly where it was looking at, and I made sure of that. So that was real interesting. The color, the shadow, the door was open on the right, so you can see that there's a texture and there's a lot happening in the photograph. The next day, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of having coffee whenever I feel like, and in this case I was at Tia Maria's Cafe, and I walk in and I see this guy in the back with his daughter. And I left and I went to my car, got my camera, I came back, took pictures. You had no idea what I was doing, and it's just that moment is just so tender, it's so precious, right? I mean, just look at her. She's like happy with mommy and daddy. But the coolest part about the photograph is just his hand. His like very big hand with her little tiny hand, and just that gentleness that's happening right there. I know sometimes it's hard to take photos like that. You might think like, I don't know this guy from anywhere. It's okay. It's all good. You just gotta capture these moments. They only happen. If you don't capture it, then well, you might think about it, but nobody else is gonna experience what you were feeling and the reason you took the photo to begin with. Then I'm in Dartmouth, and I saw this guy, and he was fixing up that sign, the Adrian's Furniture Makers. And I noticed that they had this other sign with a guy using a hand plane, so I thought there was a cool story. And it turns out that that gentleman made the Adrian sign 30 years ago. So once in a while, he's already retired, and he comes back to fix his own sign. And I thought that was really pretty cool. And today I spent some time photographing a fisherman training class in the south end of New Bedford at the UMass SMass campus. And I mean, just keep your ears open, because sometimes you end up discovering stuff that makes the material they're photographing even more resilient and more important. And in this case, the guy that you see being rescued out of the training exercise where he jumps inside the pool and then go to the life raft, it turns out that that crew guy is from a fishing boat called the Miss Shauna, and they lost a crew member who fell overseas in July off of the coast of New York State. So, you know, it's at first it might just seem like, well, it's training, whatever, but these guys know what it's. They've felt that those moments of desperation when they couldn't find a crew member, and it's real interesting to see, obviously, how seriously they're taking it. Some of the other guys might not be taking it serious, but I can guarantee you, these guys are taking it as seriously as possible. And again, it's real easy to take stuff at eye level. We have knees. Our knees have these amazing joints. You can actually like bend them, and you can go real low or real high. So try different vantage points, try different ways of looking at the world, and just keep in mind that every photograph tells a story. It's your job to capture it.